Hello everybody and welcome back to RogueTech, where we have a little bit of repair to do here, but not really all that much. How long until beta pod is done? 10 days? I don't think we need to wait that long. So let's tick on forward and get these repairs done. They are already done, but our mech warriors aren't back yet, and we definitely need them. So we'll get everybody back to duty. That only took 5 days. And at this point, let's just get our training and head back out. Nothing for Brick. So, Capo is our Black Knight pilot, which is kind of a sniper pilot, I guess. So something along the lines of focus fire, although recoil is not really a thing right now. We don't really care too much about clustering roll modifiers for our Black Knight, and we don't necessarily care about the crit chance, but I think the crit chance is still good. So I'm gonna take Bandit here, but it's arguable, I think. For Coach, we can just take a point of gunnery, and what do you drive again, Coach? Nothing at all. Okay. We'll just take a point of tactics. That's okay. For GV, nothing is needed. Hardcase needs nothing. Magus needs nothing. Panic, we could go with a point of piloting. Can never go wrong with that. And for Play-Doh, we can now get our second point here. So, what do we want? You pilot the Wraith and the Hoplite, you're really about getting in and punching, right? We've already got the Juggernaut here. Perhaps we go with, like, Escapist for the max evasive. Minus 10 visibility. Sure.
Mech warrior training.
That'll also boost our melee accuracy. So that seems fine. And then, of course, there's Weasel Cakes. And Weasel Cakes is the pilot of our crossbow. So we obviously want to go for something like Tactician for that. So we'll definitely grab that. Phenomenal. We can't hire anyone else, although we'd like to. So let's see what we can do for a command center. I'd like something kind of challenging here.
Come on in.
These are not necessarily that. Although getting some Steiner rep would not be a bad thing. That would certainly not be a bad thing. I don't necessarily expect this to be challenging. We could run this straight down the middle and just harvest some Steiner rep out of it and try to roll up some more difficult things next mission. I guess that works. And as far as our deployment here, our lance weight is 415 tons. Now, we still can't bring along the trebuchet, correct? Correct. We need to increase our drop weight. So we're going to have to deploy like this. Coach is going to have to stay in the simulator for the time being. That's probably not the worst thing in the world. So let's deploy this. The Black Knight has reduced tonnage. Yeah, that's not a lot of reduced tonnage, so it should be absolutely okay. So, as usual, it's going to take a bit to load this up, so I will see you guys in just a moment. So here we are all loaded up, and let's just deploy. We're against Comstar, so we're going to at least have a decent number of enemies. So the question is, what do we got going on here? Okay. Seems easy enough. Point defenses that are offline. Yep, as usual. So I'm assuming, where's the Vanguard at? Vanguard is off over here. Okay, so I think we set up somewhere around the escort zone here. We can put our fire support in this tree line. From here, they can make their way out here. If additional enemies drop here, they could also drop out this direction. So we'd have to be ready to head this way, but that's a pretty clear shot. I think this is okay. So we would just drop our forces out in this tree line. Something like this. Cool. Let's see what we've got. What's out there? We see a Raptor, we see a Hermes, an Inner Sphere Standard, a Locust, a Firestarter, and a Stinger. Nothing too terrifying, to be honest. We'll reserve for the time being. We want to allow them to move first so that we have some targets.
I'll be waiting.
They have 12 evasive right now, and wait a second. We have spawn protection, don't we? We have spawn protection. We don't need to reserve. I'm dumb. Okay, so at this point is our Apollo. The Apollo is just going to stay put. We want to sit in this tree line. The APCs are going to make their way up over here. The Shadowhawk is absolutely going to sprint forward as much as it can. The elevation up here means that we have a much clearer shot past our mechs that might be down here than we normally would. So that's great. Okay, Locust is closing in. That is definitely something our punchers can punch. And we're going to close in with our Wraith down here.
Commander.
The hoplite is going to remain up in the woods up here. Next up, the Centaur, and I am going to dispatch the Centaur out this direction. It can maybe get behind that Locust. Well, it can definitely get behind the Locust next turn. We'll see what else it can do. I'd love to take out that IS standard.
What's up, boss?
The crossbow is just going to chill up over here for now. And beyond that, the Scimitar is going to engage as much as it can down this way
Going full throttle.
as another cavalry unit. And beyond that, what do we have to move now?
I'm ready.
Black Knight? Okay, the Black Knight is a juggernaut unit, and so it's just going to slowly
Moving to
move forward here and keep braced. So that's the idea for the time being. This Raptor moves off over here. Okay. So that Firestarter, and finally the Stinger. And actually, they haven't moved the Hermes yet. There goes the Hermes. Perfect. So next up is going to be our Wraith. Checking hit odds here. 7 evasive on that Hermes. Raptor has 6. Stinger has 8. 7 on the Firestarter. The IS standard might actually be a good target here. It's got battle armor mortar. Okay. And then there's also the Locust, right?
Orders?
Here's what I'm thinking. We go punch the Locust. Probably kick the Locust, to be honest. From, like, this position. We would want to turn our field inhibitor off for our PPC.
I'm your Spaniard.
And we'll see how this goes. We missed our melee, which isn't shocking. And we'll see what else we get out of that.
What?
Very little there, to be honest. Okay, that's fine.
Ready
Our
for
crossbow is in a pretty decent spot here.
Copy
What are we
that.
going to want to fire on? Well, whatever we have the best hit odds, to be honest. That Firestarter? Yeah, looks like the Firestarter is the option. So we're going to just drop some missiles on it. We've got our ER LRMs and our Artemis LRMs. Artemis is definitely going to do better, but that Locust has quite the AMS run in there. It shot down one of those missiles.
Talk to me.
It's horrific. I don't know why they are even trying, to be honest. We're going to position in rear arc of both the Raptor and the Hermes, and our hit odds are best on the Raptor, so we'll just take that. And this should very easily kill this Raptor.
Roger.
Kaboom. One very dead Raptor.
One less hostile on the field.
I like it. Next up is going to be their Locust, which this took very little damage from our Wraith, which lost all of its evasive, but at least it's in cover and braced. So there is that. We'll see what the Locust decides to do here. It backs off, runs away. Okay, sounds good.
Yep.
Next up is our Hoplite. Who are we shooting at? 34.5 on the Hermes. Same hit odds on the Firestarter. I think we'll take the Hermes here and fire this rocket pack. I don't know that we'll hit it, but if we do, we'll do a lot of damage. Ooh, that was a solid hit there, actually. Cool. So the Gauss rifle ended up hitting this torso. Almost took it down, but not quite.
Ready for orders.
So our Scimitar at this point is going to cruise on up here. We can position about here. We have rear arc on the Locust and on that Hermes. We have side arc on the Stinger. We're in minimum range there. And the Firestarter we could fire on as well. I think we take the rear arc shot on the Hermes, although I don't expect this to do a lot. We might be able to take out that torso, which is already weakened.
Welcome to my Alpha Strike.
We did not. That got very little done. Okay. So the APC moves up and drops a barrage on the Hermes. Up over here. Okay. IS Standard dropping mortars on the base. We don't really care too much about that. And our Apollo from here can start to shoot at somebody. Probably the Hermes is my guess, although hit odds are actually a little bit better on the Firestarter. The Hermes is going to be vulnerable. We've already moved the crossbow. We have not yet moved the Black Knight. That will move before the Hermes does. The Shadowhawk will as well. Okay, we're going to fire on the Firestarter.
Engaging target.
Structure destroyed. hip destruction on the fire starter as well.
Critical hit.
So that was a lot of damage to the fire starter. It is now unsteady, but what it is not is dead. It took a lot of damage in that flank, no doubt about that, but it'll move out of here, and it won't take the damage from this barrage either. Locust firing on the APC is not a concern. The Shadowhawk at this point can move in like out over here, and I'd like to continue to fire on this Hermes. We'll crank this up to X6. These are not great hit odds, mostly probably due to evasive. Yeah. We'll see what we get done there, if anything. Yeah, nothing into that weakened torso, sadly.
Yes, Commander.
The Black Knight can just slowly advance over here, and that's going to take this same shot here. We'll see what we get done.
Firing all weapons.
A little bit of internal damage there. But that was in the arm, sadly. So this Hermes, definitely not dead. Okay. Well, that's fine for now. Nothing too shocking about any of that. I was hoping to get this Hermes unsteady, but that did not happen, sadly. And the fire starter is going to get to move here. It'll probably move out of the barrage. Yeah. It goes for the Wraith there. How's the Wraith doing on his heat after that flamer attack? Just fine. It missed the flamers. Okay, sounds good. Our ally firing on that fire starter, it did get a hit into the internal structure there, so the fire starter is now unsteady again. And we did take out a heat sink there. Okay, I think we're fine with that. So the barrage is going to hit up here and do some damage to that Locust. I'm not expecting it to do much. We'll see how that ends up going. The Hermes is closing into our fire support line here and flamering our Black Knight. Okay, that's cute. I don't really care too much about that, though.
Commander.
So there's that barrage hitting, and it didn't actually do any damage to the Locust. Presumably that's an LOS thing.
I've got your back.
We can get the Centaur up over here to get in behind the Stinger. Or we can hit the Locust. Either would be fine. I think I want the Stinger.
Roger
It's
that.
a little further out. It's not great hit odds. It has 8 evasive. Yeah. We'll see how that goes, though. And we got it. Phenomenal. No problem whatsoever there. I like it. Next up is our Scimitar. And the Scimitar is going to position, like, here. We can fire on the Locust or on the Fire Starter. Honestly, the Fire Starter is way better hit odds. I don't know that we're going to get much done there. Okay, we took out the leg and got a knockdown on him. That's
I think I
something.
hit something good.
Yeah, we'll take that. Seems okay. So the enemy Vanguard is going to go down pretty quick, right? This is not going to be particularly a problem. The Apollo at this point can fire on the Hermes, that's within minimum range. We can fire on the Locust, which is okay, or we can fire on the Fire Starter or on the IS Standard. Our hit odds are by far best on the Fire Starter. Let's remove this from the field.
10-4.
So that's a torso destruction
Critical
there,
hit,
and
Commander.
an ejection. Okay, fantastic. So the Fire Starter is gone. No more Fire Starter. The IS Standard is closing in on us, continuing to drop mortars on the base. We don't really
Waiting
care
for
about
orders.
that, though, to be honest. So the crossbow has 2 targets. We can fire on this Locust, or we can fire on the IS Standard. Hit odds are best on the IS Standard, and I think that's fine. The Centaur will go after the Locust. So let's start eliminating as much armor as we can from the IS Standard here. But it's not a lot. They have 2 movers in this round? Oh, I completely forgot about the Hermes. I was like, hang on a moment. But yeah, it's the Hermes. That's fine. So the Hermes is flamering this medium military building. Okay. Awkward. Locust is moving up and not really doing anything of note. So our hoplite could position like right out over here and fire on that Hermes. I don't love that positioning though. Not when we could position here instead and fire rear arc on him. And I don't think, hopefully we don't stray shot this. If we do, goodbye our bonus, but we'll see. Okay, yeah, that didn't go all that well. We missed both of our big weapons there, sadly. We did some damage to the rear arc of that Hermes, though. So at this point, it would be our Shadowhawk. We could get our Shadowhawk in on the Locust, or we could pull our Shadowhawk back to here to fire on that Hermes. And I think we should start pulling back here. We don't know where the next lances are going to come in at.
Engaging.
Okay. We didn't break through the rear arc armor on that Hermes still, which is kind of remarkable. Yeah, that Hermes is actually doing pretty well with their rear arc armor. Okay, sounds good. So at this point, the Wraith can position, like, up over here. We would really like to eliminate that IS standard. Maybe we just position, like, here or even here.
On my way.
Yeah. And then we'd fire on the IS standard with the field inhibitor on, although we just can't afford to fire the PPC this round. So this is more of a pot shot than anything.
Locked on target.
Although we did get through the armor on one of those units. Not bad. I like it. Next up is our Black Knight, and I would like the Black Knight to also come up and engage the IS standard here.
I'm walking here.
Hit odds are not great, and we will overheat here, but we'll take those.
Acknowledge.
Ooh, we missed everything. Not a single hit there. I mean, our hit odds weren't great, so that's not shocking,
Man.
but it is sad that we missed
Start the
everything
cook.
there. Let's see what our ally does here. This will be the Prowler. And, of course, we're going to go after the Locust with our Centaur here. It's firing on the IS standard there. I like that. And we have artillery, or not artillery, we have turrets now firing on the IS standard and the Hermes. Okay, we'll definitely take that. Ooh, yeah, those machine guns. Doing a lot of damage there. One of the BA mortars was destroyed. And that IS standard doesn't actually have all that much left.
Talk to me.
So that's wonderful. I'm going to get in behind the Locust here.
Confirmed.
Hit odds are decent, actually. This should do the trick.
Giving him everything I've got.
Okay, kaboom, one dead Locust. It is a core meltdown,
Battle
so we do
down.
take some armor damage on our Centaur, but for the moment we're doing okay on that front.
Commander?
So now our Scimitar can position somewhere around here. Actually, here. And we can choose who we fight. Do we fire on the IS standard, or do we fire on the rear arc on that Hermes? 25.4% hit odds means we're firing on the IS standard. Okay, we took out a couple of units there. Nice.
This just is. Critical hit.
I like it. So there's 3 units remaining here. We actually only took out 1 unit there, even though it said 2. But that's okay. I want to continue to drop missiles on them, I think. Unless we wanted to go rear arc on the Hermes. It's decent hit odds on the Artemis. Would we be better off firing Sam at this range? Yes, we would. Okay, do it.
Let's do this.
We do stray shot this building, but we don't take it down.
Take that.
And somehow that Hermes is still alive. Remarkably.
Standing by.
So the Apollo can actually position here as well. We're within minimum range of the Hermes, and I think we fire on the IS standard.
Firing.
Okay, another unit destruction. I like it. That IS standard is really close to being gone at this point. Yeah, there's only the 1 unit remaining. I like it.
For orders.
So the hoplite at this point can position somewhere around... it's a terrible position. Okay. Somewhere around here.
Moving out.
I'm not going to fire the rocket pack. And there we go. The Hermes is finally gone. So now the only remaining enemy is, of course, the IS infantry. So at this point, our Wraith is just going to step forward here. I'm not going to fire the PPC. These hit odds are abysmal. Units 1 out of 4. And it's still got 7 evasive. We do get a couple of SRM hits there, though. This thing's got like 1 HP left.
Solid connection on that one.
It is panicked right now. But yeah, it's got very, very little HP. So our Shadowhawk can move up, and we're just going to fire our MRM-20, and we just need 1 hit.
Firing.
And there we go.
Tango down.
Phenomenal. So next up, of course, we're going to have to pull these units back and figure out where the remaining enemies are going to come from, because there will be at least 1 more
Waiting
lance,
for orders.
perhaps 2. So we're going to move our Black Knight back. We're overheated right now, and we're just going to sink that heat.
I've got eyes
Okay.
on hostile
Sounds like they're
reinforcements.
out
They're
here?
heading your way.
Up here. Okay. What do we got? Mongoose, Raptor, Hitman, Firestarter. That's a convenient place for them to spawn. I don't see a second Lance. So if there's only the two, then that seems
got your
absolutely
back.
fine. They did just drop in, so that means that we want to reserve
I'm holding action.
until we have targets. So we're going to let them move here. Ah, there is another Lance out over here. Gotcha. For now, we're going to focus on this one. And we do see a Locust out there too. Okay, so this will be Weasel Cakes. We're going to continue to reserve here. Do we know what's out over here? Yes, actually. So there's a Phoenix, Icarus 2. We're firing on this Raptor right now. What else is out over there, though? So we saw a Phoenix, an Icarus 2, a Wolverine, a Firebee, a Cattlemaster, and a Kudo. Okay. Noted. So, next up, none of these guys have moved. We're going to continue to reserve. They have 4 Phase 13 movers, including this Phoenix. And then they have this Hitman, this Mongoose, and this Raptor that they're going to move all this route. So we're letting them move first so that they have less evasive. They start with 12 evasive. Okay, Raptor firing on our Apollo, and not going to get all that much done. It is side arc, though.
System holding.
So for now, that's fair enough. What else do you got? There are a lot of enemies on the field right now, 12 to be precise. But we should be able to clean these up pretty quick, in theory. So the Hitman moves forward. That's in an interesting position there. Rear arc attacking our Black Knight, but we'll just get that turned back around
Reporting heavy fire.
as soon as we can. The Mongoose moves up and goes for this building. I don't think it actually hit with anything.
Standing by.
I never actually saw it fire. And we can move our Wraith about here.
Acknowledge.
So we could fire on the Hitman, we could fire on the Locust. Hit odds are about the same, no matter what. Okay. This would be an overheat, apparently. I'm not going to fire the SRM.
Engaging target.
Okay, we'll just pot shot a couple of lasers there. I think we've hit everything in this area, including our Centaur. Pretty sure about that one. So the Oscout moves up. The Black Knight is continuing to get attacked in the rear arc. That's not shocking. At this point, I kind of want to move the Centaur next. So we're going to reserve another time here. We're going to let them continue to attack us. Because I want to get the Centaur up into, like, this position before we do too much else. And then from there, we can get up, like, behind this Firestarter. Would be the idea. So we jump here if we can. Hopefully we can get, like, here. And then we backstab the Oscout. And then from there, we move up and hit the Firestarter. And then just push in through their backline as needed. Okay. Hitting that sniper turret with missiles is absolutely fine. So we continue to reserve here. This will be an allied unit that moves here. This will be this APC. Nothing too major there. So what do you got, APC? What are you going to do? Medium laser on the Firestarter, but it misses. Okay, that was underwhelming. That was definitely underwhelming. So phase 10, they have another mover. And that is this Firebee out over here. Gonna lob a couple of missiles. Yeah, no problem. That's absolutely fine. And the turret can hopefully keep those guys busy for a while. So we can make our way up to about here-ish. Any way we slice it, it's going to be in rear arc over here, but in melee range, right? Well, I'm not going to melee. I'm hoping that we don't have another core meltdown.
Follow my lead.
Okay, that's a structure exposure, a lot of internal damage to that Oscout, but we didn't actually take it out. Wolverine moves up and doesn't really do too much. Yeah, we had a bad clustering roll there. Okay, that's fine.
Commander.
So next up is our crossbow. So the crossbow is absolutely able to move here. And what do we want to fire on? The Oscout, probably. I'd like to eliminate the Oscout from the field. So let's just fire this in ER mode. And there we go. One dead Oscout. I like it.
Hostile removed.
So now there are 11 enemies. And that is a lot of them. No doubt about it.
Commander.
Next up is our Apollo, but it is time to put a cut in here, so I'm going to go ahead and do that, and next episode, we're going to finish clearing this out, hopefully. You can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings, and a very special thank you to all of the channel members for making this video possible, including ALS Gamer, Shadow Wolf, Andy McGar, Upper Cumberland Gamers, Nick Smarty, Dimitri H, Punching the Microphone, Soccerman12UK, Kentogan, and all the rest. And of course, you. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to support the channel, you can click the join button down below the video, and as always, I will see you all next time.